Hi guys! So today I thought I would share with you a celebration cake recipe because we recently hit 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Not super recently, but it's been a while since I posted. So today I thought I would share one of my new favorite recipes for chocolate cake with you. Now I already have a really nice chocolate cake recipe that I posted a few years ago. You know, times have changed, you try new recipes, you discover you like new things. Now this recipe is just as good, if not better than that cake. It's super fluffy, super soft, just the right amount of chocolate, and it happens to be vegan. It's a little bit easier to make than the old recipe, which is why it's become a staple in my house. So let's get started. Begin by adding 2 cups of sugar to a bowl. I'm using Demerara, but brown or regular granulated sugar is fine. Next, pour in half a cup of oil. I'm using coconut oil, but vegetable is fine too. Also add a tablespoon of vinegar and 2 cups of boiling water. Just give those ingredients a quick whisk to combine them, and then you're gonna add in 2 teaspoons of instant espresso powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Coffee has the tendency to intensify chocolate flavors, and you can barely taste it, so I highly recommend adding it in. Now add in a heaping cup of good quality dark cocoa powder and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now you can also do this recipe by mixing all the dry ingredients first and then adding the wet ingredients, but really all you're looking for is to combine everything together. And once you're satisfied with the cake batter, you can divide it between 2 8-inch pans, which I have generously buttered, dusted with flour, and lined with parchment paper to prevent from sticking. You could also bake this cake in 9-inch pans or a bundt pan, but keep in mind if you use the bundt pan, it will take a lot longer to bake. Bake the cakes at 180 degrees Celsius for about 25 to 30 minutes or until the toothpick inserted comes out clean. Let the cakes cool completely, and in the meantime you can start with the frosting. Now I'm using the same recipe as I did for my The Best chocolate cake recipe, but it's vegan. I have here 1 cup of vegan butter that I'm melting in the microwave, but you can also use regular butter if you're not vegan. To the butter, add in 1 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, and you'll notice that I've actually doubled the ingredient quantities from the old video, and you'll soon see why. I just need to use more icing for this particular cake. Now throw in half a teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Next, add in 2/3 of a cup of non-dairy milk, such as soy milk or almond milk if you're vegan, and regular milk is fine if you're not. And you want to alternate the milk with 6 cups of confectioner's sugar. Now I know that seems like a lot of sugar, but this does make a lot of frosting, and it is a special occasion cake, so it's okay to indulge every now and then. And just keep beating the icing. It's sometimes easier to use an electric mixer, but I do everything by hand. And your end result should be a beautifully thick, velvety buttercream. And now you are ready to frost, so once the cakes are cool, you can run a knife around the edges to loosen them from the cake pans, and then just flip them over. If your cakes formed a small dome while baking, you can also choose to use a serrated knife and slice the dome off, but this is optional. It just makes for a smoother top, and those scraps make a lovely snack. Now to assemble the cake, just dab a blob of icing at the center of your cake stand or plate. It just helps the cake from shifting, and then place the cake topside down in the center. Add a generous dollop of icing atop, and then using a knife or offset spatula, just spread it out as evenly as you can. And place the second cake topside up atop. Now I like to do a crumb coat first, so I'm just taking another generous blob of icing and spreading it out to cover the cake entirely. Dipping your knife in some hot water every now and then makes spreading out the icing a whole lot smoother. Now you can also halve the icing recipe and cover the cake in 1 layer of icing, but I wanted to pipe on some rosettes and take decorating to another level, which is why I doubled the recipe so I could have more. Now, making rosettes is super easy. You just need a piping bag fitted with a 1M star nozzle, and all you need to do is push in the center and make a nice swirl. I wanted to cover the cake entirely in rosettes, so I started with the sides and then made my way to the center of the cake. Rosettes are super easy to make, and they work with any sort of buttercream or thick frosting. I think they add a very impressive finish to any cake. Now, this cake is a definite showstopper, and it's super easy to put together, as you saw. The cake itself only requires a handful of ingredients that you most likely already have on hand, and what I love about it is that it's dietary friendly, so a lot more people can enjoy it. This cake is rich and chocolatey, definitely better than anything that you would find in a box and perhaps even in a bakery, and it's bound to make any chocolate lover very, very happy. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I really hope you enjoyed learning how to make this chocolate cake recipe. Now I know that I post very sporadically and I apologize for that, but YouTube for me is one of my favorite hobbies and things to do during my free time. So I'd like to keep it that way instead of it becoming a source of stress for me. So I hope you understand. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. As always, you can find the full printable recipe on my blog at hotchocolatehits.com. For more recipes and pictures and updates, you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm at hotchocolatehits, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.